Alright, let's talk about Silent Hill and everything wrong about the movies. No, not entirely that. But I want to talk about some misconceptions that are made through the movies and has carried on into the video games of Silent Hill. And well, I think we better do this best by starting off with the first movie. So the first movie is about the family De Silva that realizes their daughter Sharon has some visions in her dreams about a place called Silent Hill. Her mother decides then to go to Silent Hill with her daughter because that sounds like the best idea ever. And well, shit starts from there. They end up in a misty town, and well, you kind of know the rest. There's an order there. They want Sharon to destroy Alessa, who is. And one thing that is particularly important when talking about Silent Hill is usually that I feel like they never really can grasp the concept of the town or the backstory to it. So the movie got a good idea when it comes to the order. What it does wrong, however, is the part of when they think they're in another dimension and that the order is locked into that dimension. That is not entirely true. If you look at Silent Hill, the games, you're not actually locked in another dimension. You're rather locked in the town who manifest your inner demons or someone's inner demons into reality. And that is in the video game Silent Hill. Harry Mason actually says that out loud, that he feels like there's a nightmare invading reality, and it is, but it's not Harry's nightmare. It is Alessa's nightmare, and Alessa's monsters being figuring. And it's always kind of like they half-assed it or they don't understand the idea. But I'm not gonna blame the producers of the movie. They're actually doing kind of a good job. They put in Silent Hill. They have the order in the movie, and they kind of do a decent job. There's a lot of fan service, which we're gonna talk about now. And the major one that everyone thinks about when I call out fan service is the fact that Pyramid Head is a part of this movie, and he's playing the part of Alessa's protectioner and executioner. And I gotta give them that they changed the appearance of Pyramid Head so it doesn't look like the red pyramid thing James Sunderland confronts in Silent Hill 2. But on the contrary, James is the only one experiencing Pyramid Head. And we even see this in the game Silent Hill 2. I mean, it's not like none of the other protagonists in the game meet up with Pyramid Head. They never do. And every time James mentioning the guy, everyone else is like, yeah, we don't know what you're talking about. So clearly, James is the only one that can see Pyramid Head. While I'm not particularly offended by them using Pyramid Head, I kind of feel like it's a mostly fan service doing so. I although want to give them some props for actually changing the role and the appearance of the Pyramid Head so it's not exactly the same and stuff like that. Other stuff that worries me, like nurses, you have those too. Of course, there's a lot of nurses in Silent Hill. We have them in Silent Hill 2 and 3, if we count the original games by Team Silent, and but even there, you notice there's a great difference in appearance. While James has those sexy nurses with no faces going at him, Heather doesn't in Silent Hill 3. She has another version of the nurses, a much more scary version, if you wanna take it that way, less sexualized, and that's an important thing. But what we also need to figure out here is whose nightmare we are experiencing, and gotta say that the biggest plot hole in the movie is that we are experiencing Alyssa's nightmare, but they kind of don't give any thought about that. I mean, they do it, with the Otherworld in how Otherworld is presented and stuff like that, but they never give you like the symbolism of the monsters and stuff like that. And I mean, Pyramid Head being her bro. Yeah, I just have a kind of a hard time understanding it. I think we can count that as a little bit of a plot hole, and stuff like that. What you need to know is that when Harry Mason in Silent Hill 1 claims that the nightmare invades the world, it doesn't invade another dimension. It invades reality. And we see that as a factor in Silent Hill 2, which doesn't have the order, but still we see that because that game has 3 protagonists. It has James, who you play, and it has Angela and Eddie, and you face all of their nightmares in that game. You don't only face your own. You face all of their nightmares as well. And I mean, the Eddie boss fight in the meat room is his nightmare because he eats a lot, he's afraid of being a fatso. And we see Angela's nightmare, the table monster, when she screams, "Oh no, Dad, don't do it!" That and the fire is, the stairways that are on fire is also hers nightmare. Those are not projections of James' nightmare, which is what we experience most through the game, like Pyramid Head and nurses and all the other monsters that are symbolistic for his own nightmare. And I kind of feel like the movie lost a lot of that idea, except for the fact that I understand they did it because they want to do a lot of fan service. Now, the first movie of Silent Hill I kind of enjoy still. I mean, I like the movie. It's just it differentiates itself from the games. Of course, it does. It's a screenplay, and they want people to recognize whatever they are seeing. However, when moving on to Silent Hill 2 Revelations, now that is an entire different thing, because that movie is complete and utter fucking garbage. Now, Silent Hill Revelations still has Sean Bean and tries to reconnect to the first movie in a very weird way. They wanted her named Heather instead of Sharon, so basically what they did is scrap the first movie's material and just, rewrote it to make it more video gamey. The biggest problem with that movie is that it lacks a lot of what the first movie had. I mean, the first movie at least had atmosphere and it at least tried to be scary. This movie is not scary. It's a showcase. It's a showcase of, oh, do you remember Pyramid Head? Yeah, we got him in here. Oh, do you remember Robbie the Rabbit? Yeah, we got him in here too. Look at all the Silent Hill stuff we got in here. Don't you like it? Don't you love this movie? Isn't it great? And the fact that we have Kit Harington there, I mean, he doesn't do a bad role, but he should be thanking God or Cthulhu for having Game of Thrones in his resume, because this will not give him many jobs. And I mean, they tried to do a lot of shit with this movie that I kind of don't feel sit right. Like the Seal of Metatron, which is in the game Silent Hill 3, which this movie tries to be, is useless. We find Vincent trying to use the Seal of Metatron against Claudia, which fails. Also, another big part of it is there's just a lot of scenes that doesn't make sense. They used Pyramid Head a lot as a scary dude because he's cool and, fan service, and they skipped a lot of the Silent Hill 3 story, like how it begins and stuff like that. They tried to rewrite it to a cooler, faster pace, but it just sucks. And you know, they continuously fail to make it scary, and even here, they adapted the idea of other dimensions. One of the characters explicitly said, "There are many Silent Hills." No, there are not many Silent Hills. There's one Silent Hill. It's in one fucking place that uses the dark power of whatever demon it is that the Order is praising, and that demon's power manifests stuff, monsters, and lets the other world invade, and the people in the town manifest their own inner demons into reality throughout this power without knowing about it. That's how it works, and it has always worked that way until this movie came out. And the first movie came out, by the way, because Tom Hewlett, the producer of the games of Silent Hill, decided that the movie was so fucking good, he decided that in Homecoming we should scrap all the lore of the other stuff, because he explicitly said he didn't like the Order that much. So we're gonna take movie plots into the game plots, where the game plots and the movie plots really don't fit together. We see this a lot in Silent Hill Homecoming, the game. For example, how Sybil Bennett just disappeared in Silent Hill and no one ever heard of her again, because, you know, in the first movie she was burned at stakes. And I kind of feel like, why? Why? I mean, the first movie is alright, the second movie is garbage. There's a lot of orange in it, and weird scenes and weird monsters that doesn't really make any sense. And to speak about the Pokemon fight between Pyramid Head and Claudia's inner monster, whatever the fuck that is, I mean, that is just horrendous. It's fucking garbage, and I really hate that in Silent Hill Homecoming they take those things and make it lore, and they use Pyramid Head in Silent Hill Homecoming as well as the Boogeyman. He doesn't have a clear role. He just execution people. He executes Alex Shepard's dad, stuff like that. It's shit. It's pure shit. And I really hope that if they make a third movie, I hope they ignore the second movie, go back to the original movie and try to make their own lore in that kind of sense, because it kind of works as a movie. Well, you know, they don't have to follow the games, but I want to point out this misconception about the dimensions, because it seems like the producer of Silent Hill has the same idea, and it's completely wrong. Tom Hewlett is wrong. Silent Hill is one place. The other world invades reality. There's no other dimensions. There's not a lot of Silent Hills. It's not. It's just one place. It's one place that all these things happen because of supernatural phenomena, letting manifestations appear. That is how it is. Well, I don't know what they thought and why Tom Hewlett is so obsessed of making every character sexually frustrated. I mean, just stop it. It worked with James, because the James story, it worked very well, and James' story is the oldest story in the world. It's about amnesia, and they tell it in a way that makes it interesting. You don't need to use amnesia in every goddamn fucking video game after that. And I'm fucking glad that the movie decided to focus on the Order instead of a fucking amnesia case. That's... yeah, I kind of... yeah, there's a lot of shit I can talk about in this movie. I'm not gonna continue rambling on a lot more, but safe to say, I kind of enjoyed the first Silent Hill. I don't enjoy Revelations at all, because that movie is just, wow, it's a mess. It's a mess of fucked up lore, contradicting the first movie, just screwing around with the name Silent Hill slapped on it, and using other characters. Fuck, they even introduced Travis in the end of it. Jesus fucking Christ. So if you're gonna do a new movie, do it right or get the fuck out. Thank you everyone for coming by this time. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook and on here on YouTube and on Twitch and on, well, you know, just follow me. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you around.